What's up guys, Silver here with another Halo Master Chief Collection Achievement Guide. This time we're doing How Did I Lose All My Fingers, which is beat the par score on the package. So you can do this on any difficulty, though I recommend normal, which is what I'm on right now. And I have 6 skulls on. Normally with my par score guys, I put on 5 skulls, but I threw on an extra one for this one. I put on Catch, Famine, Fog, Thunderstorm, and Tough Luck, and the extra one I threw on was Tilt because it doesn't become that much of a factor in this mission in particular. So we're going to start off by just killing all of the enemies in the starting area. We're going to kill the 2 shade turret pilots, and then we're going to move forward. There's a ghost in this area, so be aware of him. We could easily hijack him by kind of going to this door over here where I am right now and kind of letting him come over here. He's distracted by my marine buddies over here though, so he's not acting like he normally does, but that's okay. I guess I'll just try to shoot at him, get his attention, and run back over to the doorway here. He usually kind of tries to charge your location, and then you could easily just board him because he can't go through the doorway, but he goes right up to it, so you could just hop on to the ghost and knock him out of it. But he was killed by my marine buddies this time around, so I guess we'll take that and run with it. He's not the majority of the points we're going for anyway, so who cares? But we're going to kill the last guy here. Somehow he got down here, even though he's supposed to be up in the tower. And we'll just speed over here to this tank, and we'll hop in the tank. Activate your night vision, because it's easier to see all your targets with the night vision on. Even though it's daytime, it's a little darker in some sections of this mission. Kill that sniper tower, kill this turret, and then kill this sniper tower as well for some points right off the bat. And then kill this turret. It's easier to see that turret with the night vision on. It's kind of tough to see him without that on. So we will take out all of the infantry on the left here as we move forward. But you can see I'm being pretty aggressive here. I'm just kind of rolling through this whole area and killing the enemies as I go, rather than kind of staying back and killing them from a safe distance. But we're on normal right now, so we don't really take too much damage if you kill these guys fairly quickly. So we're just going to continue rolling through, and time is a factor, so that's why I'm kind of rolling through and not being too cautious. Again, we don't really need to be too cautious because of the difficulty setting, but we could get a better time and thereby get a better score, because par time is a factor. If you get par time or lower, you actually get a 3 times multiplier, and anything above that, we actually start losing that multiplier. So if we finish within 20 minutes, which is the par time for this mission, we will be able to get the max time multiplier. So for these anti-air tanks, you don't need to go up to them and actually take them out on foot. You could actually just kill them from outside by shooting them anywhere on the gun, really, but just shoot the top, and then we'll be able to roll through here. There's some jackals that I already killed here. There's some banshees, and banshees are where you're going to get a ton of points here. So normally I ignore those guys. I don't even really look up and pay any mind to them at all, but you're going to get a bunch of points just by killing these banshees. There's a bunch that fly through the air, so keep looking up, even though you kill the 2 or 3 that are in the air and you start paying attention to the ground forces again. Look up, because there's going to be more reinforcements coming through the skies. So they are a big source of points for this mission. I know a lot of people have commented on previous videos and said, when is the package par score coming out? Because a lot of people are having trouble with this apparently. But I'm wondering if they're taking into account the banshees up ahead, because these guys are, like I mentioned already, a source of a bunch of points. So try to just take out as many banshees as you can as you're going through this section. You want to lead the target a little bit, because your tank mortar does not actually make it there instantly when you pull the trigger. So sometimes you'll have to lead the target if they're kind of flying to the left or the right, and even forward or backward. Unless they're flying straight at you, that's really the only time you don't need to lead the target, is if they're flying straight at you, because they're just going to fly right into the round you're firing at them. So just kind of take your time here. I know we said we wanted to get a good par time, but we don't want to ignore the fact that there's a bunch of banshees here that we could kill, and there are a lot of points. So they're about 300 points each with all these skulls on, and we will be able to times that by 3 if we land in under par time. So they're basically 1,000 points each if we get under 20 minutes. So it looks like the Banshee fountain has dried up, so we're going to continue rolling through here, kill all the enemies you can, and we're going to go to the next section. And there's going to be more banshees in the next section too, so we can see some flying here, but I just mean the next section. We're kind of in the same section we've been in, but we'll just keep killing the banshees as they appear. And there's going to be some ghosts up ahead, along with some sniper turret. That doesn't make any sense, but there's one of those sniper perches, the gravity lift perches over on the left here, so we're going to take that out. The left side of it is obscured by trees, so you can't really shoot at it. But the right side of it, we could actually clip a little bit with our tank mortar, so you could shoot the right side of it, take it out, turn your attention to the right. There's always a ghost there, and then there's 2 more ghosts over the little hill here. So sometimes they like to play hide and seek a little bit. Sometimes they actually are a little more aggressive, and it's better for us because they actually come into view, so we can actually shoot them. But do what you gotta do here. And then I'm not being cautious here. Normally on higher difficulties, I kind of back up to this point, and I'm able to more easily defend myself and run away if I need to. But since we're on a lower difficulty, like I mentioned, I'm just going to kind of roll through here. There's 4 turrets. 2 are turrets, or 2 are like regular plasma bolt turrets, and then 2 are fuel rod turrets. So make sure you take them out. There's 2 Revenants down low and 1 Revenant up top, so 3 total. And sometimes there's a Fuel Rod Grunt running around the ground in the distance. So we want to watch out for this guy. The guy I just shot at, that guy has a Fuel Rod, and he's kind of tough to see, though we have the night vision on, so that's helping us out. So we want to be able to duck back behind the wall here if we need to on the left side of ourselves right now. And you can see there's a bunch of Banshees spawning in from this wall to my left. They kind of fly up and over this whole area, and I never really noticed them until I was searching for points to get this guide together, and then I realized there's a ton of Banshees in this section. So I accidentally killed my friend there, and we lost some points. So don't do that. You will lose points if you kill your friendlies. So I don't recommend that. But we are going to net a bunch of points overall for this section because of the Banshees predominantly. And we're going to go up here. There's the 1 Wraith up top that I mentioned. Or not the Wraith, the Revenant up top. So we'll take him out, and then we can move on to the next section. And we're going to grab a Ghost to head to that next section because it's going to be faster. And we could also actually just take out all of the enemies with a Ghost. Normally, I would just speed past all the guys if I was on a higher difficulty or going for a speed run. But we could actually just use the Ghost to kind of take these guys out. There's going to be a bunch of elites and grunts up ahead, which again we normally speed by, but we're actually going to kill them this time because we're looking for points. So we get up here, the door opens, and we go through the door, and there's going to be 2 elites up at the top that are going to meet us. I turn off my night vision at this point because I don't really need it anymore. And here are the promised elites along with a group of grunts. So I'm going to just kind of splatter a bunch, and there's a noble team down here trying to help out, kind of pushing from the other side. So they will offer some distraction. So that is good, and you could use your gunner on your gun on your front of your Ghost here once you are done trying to splatter people, because they like to dodge out of the way, especially with Tough Luck on. They have the ability to dodge out of the way more often with Tough Luck on, so be aware of that. And we're going to just ram these guys if we can. I don't actually recommend ramming them, but you could just kind of go behind them or go past them so you get behind them, and then you could just kind of take them out with the gun on the Ghost here. So we'll just kind of clean these guys up a little bit, and then we will move on to the next section once they are all dead. There's a health pack at the end of the section here right before you go to the next section, right in the corner here, and there's a hallway that we're going to go through. This next section is all about skirmishers and jackals. You can see there's 2 shielded jackals on the right side here, and far in the corner on the back right over here there's more jackals, 2 more, and they have needle rifles. So you could grab those needle rifles if you'd like, or we could just move on. I'm just going to stick to my DMR here and try to run through as fast as possible. For the jackals that have shields, you just want to basically use the strategy to just shoot that little notch in their shield, shoot them in the hand, and it kind of gets them to stagger backwards. And then you could always pop them in the head because that gets them to expose their head. And then for anybody else, they obviously don't have that shield, so you just shoot them in the head straight up. And you could also use nades like you can see I did there, which is pretty effective. And also there's a bunch of DMR ammo to the left of the door you enter that section from, and also at the end you can see I grabbed some more as well up against the wall. And we're going to move through this section. I have a DMR and a plasma pistol. We're going to grab a fresh plasma pistol. You can see I already have a pretty fresh one, but there's 2 more on the ground here along the path to the next section. You can see I was looking at them. So grab one of those if you haven't already. And we're going to move over here, and we're going to take out these guys as quickly as possible. There are some invisible elites along with a engineer over here floating in the back. So your priority is to take out the engineer as you enter this room so he doesn't give shields to these invisible elites, or additional shields rather. And we're going to start in on these invisible elites with the plasma pistol. Kind of just use it like a regular gun. Don't overcharge it because you'll probably miss. You can't actually lock onto these invisible elites while they're invisible. Once they become visible, you can, but by that point, they don't have any shields. But once we do take their shields down, we're just going to switch to our DMR to pop them in the head for the easy kill with 1 headshot. And for this guy, we could actually close the gap if we want, and we could overcharge plasma pistol him, but since the tilt skull is on, it actually doesn't entirely pop his shield like it would normally. So we are going to continue to shoot him with the plasma pistol, and we'll be able to finish him off with the DMR once his shield pops. So activate the cutscene by the door here by hitting the switch, and then we'll skip that, and we'll head down here, and we're going to jump into a Banshee to start this section off. But how do you get a Banshee, you might be asking? We're going to get a jetpack and just simply jetpack up to one. So head to the left over here, hug the left. We have sprint probably at this point still, so we're going to exchange that for a jetpack. There's jetpacks up against the wall, so don't be looking for a kind of hologram. They're just literal jetpack-looking things up against the wall here. So grab one of those and head up to this building right here. And usually the Banshees will be flying around this building 95% of the time. Only once can I recall that there were Banshees and they were flying around elsewhere, and I had to go kind of gather the Banshee from a different place. But they're usually over here. So you can see that guy just flew right over the building, so just fly up right to their nose, and then you could board them from there. And then we'll be able to kind of use the Banshee to kill all of the other enemies that will be spawning in here. And while you're waiting for those enemies to be dropped off by the Phantoms, you could actually take out some Banshees, because the Banshees pretty much spawn infinitely. If you take out a Banshee, it'll just be replaced. So you could use that to your advantage to get some extra points. And we will be taking out all of these guys. There's a bunch of grunts and jackals and just regular infantry that are being dropped off right now. So we're going to take these guys out. They're scripted to kind of be dropped off by these Phantoms in these different locations, and then kind of walk up to Halsey's lab, which is where we grab the jetpack. And basically, we just have to defend that whole area for a while. There's going to be a few waves of enemies, so we're going to collect a lot of points here. You can see we have almost hit the par score, which is 65,000, which is pretty high. But we have a lot more enemies we could take out, so we'll definitely hit that par score. But you can see here I'm being a little aggressive. I'm kind of way too close to these enemies, and they could stun me with their plasma pistols if they're overcharged, and then they could end up sticking me and killing me, and then I have to revert, which makes me lose points, and time as well, which is probably a bigger factor than just simply getting the penalty for dying. But we're going to try to keep our distance here. Ideally, if you want to try to be super aggressive, you should pay attention to the guns of the jackals and the grunts, because you could see if they have an overcharged plasma pistol or not. So if you could see something glowing in their hand, that means they have an overcharged plasma pistol, so steer clear of them, keep your distance, and kill those guys from far away. But that multi-kill I just got is pretty tempting, so you could try to do that if you would like. I recommend splattering the guys up top more so than the guys down below, because those jackals I just splattered, if you get plasma pistoled and stunned, they can't actually stick you. It's just a big group of jackals. They don't have any grenades, and also you're not going to fly off the side of the cliff like you could down below, because if you're boosting at the people down below, they could plasma pistol you, and then you can't do anything to change your momentum, so you'll just go careening off the side, which I've done many times. So if you're going to be splattering anybody, it should be those jackals up top from that Phantom. So we will continue taking these guys out, and eventually there will be a Wraith that's dropped off on one side of the map, and we're going to go grab that Wraith, and it's pretty easy to do. So that Wraith is actually scripted, so you won't actually have to fight the main Wraith tank. You'll just have to fight the gunner. The gunner is the only one who has a mind of his own. So we're going to fly back here once it says something about, hey, the Wraith is over here, watch out for it. You could go up behind here, just fly behind this Wraith, and then we could plasma pistol this guy, this gunner that I was talking about. He's the only one who will try to actually shoot you. And then we could just pop him in the head once his shield is popped, board the front of the Wraith, and then punch it twice. That will open the hatch, and then you could jump off, then hop back on and actually plasma pistol him, and that will get his shield to pop. Then you could shoot him in the head once for the headshot and take his Wraith, and we'll be able to use this for the duration of the remainder of the mission. So that not only makes the rest of this mission way easier, it's actually way easier to get a bunch more points too, which is what we're looking for. So it's easier, and you're going to get more points. A win-win, basically. So move in this direction, and you're going to want to pay attention to the right side as well. You don't want to get flanked, because there are enemies kind of up here already at Halsey's lab that I'm looking at right now, and there's also enemies coming from behind. So you want to be making sure that you're checking all the different directions that enemies could be flanking you from. I'm just confident that there's no enemies behind me just yet, because I know the timing of the Phantoms and when they're dropping off all their troops from playing this game way too much. But look both ways before crossing the street, kids. And we could actually go down here once all these guys are deployed, and we could splatter all those guys. But you may want to just take them out with your Wraith instead of relying on splattering them, because, again, you could be plasma pistoled, and the brutes could throw plasma grenades or board you even. So it's not the best situation if you somehow mess it up, which is fairly easy to do, because there's a bunch of walls kind of jutting out, and if you kind of clip one, then you get stopped, and you avoid splattering some of them, and then they could do some damage to you. So not always the best option to just straight up splatter them. You have a big gun on that Wraith, so why not use it? So we're just kind of messing around outside of the Wraith now. I'm just waiting for the next wave of enemies, and when that does come in, I want to make sure that I'm down below where we kind of were, where we just splattered a bunch of people. So that's where we're going to hang out and be able to take out a bunch of enemies before they even really are a threat, as they spawn into the map, basically. But you'll know when the wave is starting, because Halsey will come over the comms and say something like, I need more time, or whatever, and then you'll move down. There will be some Phantoms that come in and drop off troops, and we're going to get behind one of the Phantoms so we could kind of get the jump on them, like I mentioned. So just wait for that Halsey dialogue, and then we will move down, and I'm just trying to take out some Banshees for some extra points right now while we're waiting here. So we got one. You can't really rely on that too much. It's a little tough to get those Banshees to fly in the right trajectory and line up your shot, but we'll be able to move down here. It's definitely easier with the tank than lobbing these Wraith mortars. But we're going to hide right here, go all the way down, and then kind of wedge yourself in here on the left. And the Phantom actually can't really shoot you from here, so we're going to lay into these guys. Normally, if we were playing on Legendary without the tilt skull on, we would actually be able to take out the Phantoms much more easily. We could actually blow those things up and get a bunch of points. But since tilt is on, they don't really go down quickly. So I'm just going to focus on placing my reticle directly in between the ground and also the kind of the hatch that the enemies come down out of. And you could actually just shoot as they fall down and get those kills as they spawn into the map, basically. And you could easily take them out quickly, get a bunch of points for the multi-kills, and then we could kind of just rest assured that the enemies behind us are no longer there. So we could kind of move up, and we won't have to worry about getting attacked from behind. So we're going to move up, and we're going to take out these enemies that we come across in front of us. And obviously there's 2 ghosts that we took out as well right when they spawned in. And you want to make sure that you don't get too close. That was a close encounter that we don't want. No close encounters are good because they could board you. Well, I guess grunts and... oh, God. That was not good. Do not boost into suicide grunts. But we didn't take too much damage, so that is fortunate. The tilt skull being on is beneficial for both sides. So enemy vehicles that we're fighting are actually more resilient because of the fact that it's on. But also the Wraith that I'm in is more resilient because it's on. So it's kind of a two-way street there. So we could use that to our advantage. And we'll just kind of take these guys out. And we will go back down to our hiding spot in a little bit for the final wave of enemies. There's actually only 2 waves of enemies once you get in the Wraith on normal. On higher difficulties, there are 3 waves. So we're just going to take out all these enemies as quickly as we can. Try to take out some Banshees if we have some spare time, like so. And then we could get some extra points. But you can see we are well over the par score at this point. Even though on other missions we could get even higher over the par score. This is the highest par score. But I'm definitely interested in what the highest pi score is because I want to find that pi and have a slice or the whole thing. But I'm just waiting for that last wave of enemies to come in, the final wave like I mentioned, and it will also be kind of cued by Dr. Halsey having some dialogue. That's when you'll know it's starting, so you should head back down to that hiding spot that we were in originally when this first wave came in. So we are going to just kind of hang out, wait for that to happen. If you clear out all the enemies pretty quickly, you actually have a little bit of time where the game is just kind of... It can't even fathom it. You kill all the enemies so quickly, so it just kind of hangs out there for a little bit before bringing in the next wave. So you have a little bit of downtime if you take them out quickly. But we're going to move over here now. I heard the dialogue from Halsey. So we're going to go back into our snug little hiding spot over here, and we'll be able to take these guys out. And this time, this lower phantom doesn't really drop off too many troops. It just drops off a Wraith. So we will get in behind that guy and be able to take him out for a bunch of points. And we will really be able to pad our score here at the end. So you can see we're going to get under par time probably. Par time's 20 minutes. So we're at about 17 minutes, a little over 17 minutes right now. So we will hopefully be able to get under 20 minutes. And spoiler, I'm going to do it. You could tell by the video length probably anyway. So there you go. But we're going to kind of just hang out behind here, wait for the Wraith to be dropped. You could wait for the Wraith to kind of circle around. The Wraith kind of lands and then moves forward and then circles back and turns around. So it will present its backside to us, which is the weakest point of the Wraith. So A, it's the weakest point, and B, it can't shoot at us from that direction. So that's a win-win for us right there. Both good things. So we take them out, and then we'll move forward and take out all of the infantry that's dropped off over here. There's going to be an engineer kind of floating in the middle of the area as well. There's going to be a sword elite. So take that guy out. You don't want him to close the gap and board you or anything. And then we will be able to move forward even more and take out all these guys who are hanging out up near Halsey's lab. And you will be able to finish the mission before you take out all of the enemies. The objective just says objective complete, and then you can run and activate the switch to finish the mission, even with some enemies remaining. But if you're going for more points and you have more time left before you hit the par time, you could always just sit here and kill all of the remaining enemies until there's nobody left, including that Wraith in the back, and that's exactly what we're going to do here. We had the objective complete to come up on the screen, and then we could run up and hit that switch, but we took out a couple more elites, and we're going to take out this Wraith back here. And similar to the Wraith that we hijacked, this Wraith is fixated on firing at a specific point, kind of just generally over at the lab that Halsey has. And we are going to take out the gunner, which is the only guy who cares about what's happening in front of him. And we'll just be able to easily walk up behind this Wraith and plant a grenade. And you want to plant the grenade to get more points. You don't want to just beat it to death, because if you beat it to death, you'll actually kill the driver, and the Wraith will not explode right away. So you won't get points for killing the Wraith, which is actually what you want, because the Wraith gives you a ton more points. So you want to just plant the grenade, and it will blow up, and that will kill the Wraith, and you'll get a bunch more points. And then we'll run back over to Halsey's lab and activate this switch. And we can see here that we will be getting 1916 for our time, and that is going to give us the max time bonus of 3, and we got the total score of 98,000. So well over the 65,000 required for this achievement. And one last thing I should have mentioned earlier is the fact that I did not activate any of those spider turrets because I didn't want them to take any of the kills from me. I wanted all those points for myself. But that's it for this one, guys. I'll see you next time when we do the par score for the Pillar of Autumn. Thanks for watching, guys. If you found that video helpful, be sure to click on the scorpion icon to subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. You could also check out some related guides by clicking on the videos on screen, and you can find links in the description for other social media links of mine. Stay tuned for more Halo guides, and I'll see you in the next one.